Honorable Member of Parliament, Thiruvananthapuram, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, Judge, High Court of Kerala, Justice A.K.J. Nambiar, Chief Secretary, Government of Kerala, Dr. V.P. Joy, Vice Chancellor, Dr. Rajkumar. We have Mr. Sudhir Mishra, who is founder and managing partner, Trust Legal, and my colleague, Professor Upasana Mahanta. I've been asked to make a few introductory remarks, and let me just add and follow on from what Vice Chancellor Rajkumar has already done. What is the O.P. Jindal Global University doing here in Kerala today? The university conducts state outreaches, and it is here in Thiruvananthapuram to reach out to the people of Kerala, to talk to them about the university and about the work that the university is doing in many fields, including in advancing the goal of sustainable development. O.P. Jindal Global University is a single campus university. It is a residential university located in Sonipat in Haryana. They can very well stay there and not go out. But as a matter of policy, the university has said that even though it's a private university, it is a public institution. And it serves the public. It needs to educate the public. It needs to tell the public about the work that it is doing. And therefore, systematically, the university leadership is going from state to state. And it is as part of that exercise that they are here today in Thiruvananthapuram to speak to all of you, to meet and to interact with people. And also, the Vice Chancellor and the entire team called on the Governor today. There will be an opportunity to interact with the Chief Secretary informally during the course of this evening. And they are here to talk to you, to listen to you, and to interact with all of you. What is the Sustainability Conclave? What is the Sustainable Development Report? All of us keep hearing about sustainable development goals. We read in the newspapers about sustainable development goals. We all know world leaders gather in New York and in Geneva and various parts of the world. Big speeches are made. Governments say that we all want to implement the sustainable development goals. These are goals which in the UN, all countries of the world have come together and agreed upon. But what is its connection to each one of us? What is its connection to the world, the society, the community in which we live? So that is the question which the university is trying to answer through what they call the Sustainable Development Report. This report is an attempt to take the 17 Sustainable Development Goals agreed upon internationally, including by India, implemented very actively by the central and state governments, and to say, how is it relevant to me as a university? How do I, as a university, implement the Sustainable Development Goals? So the university has asked an independent agency to study these goals, and it is an exercise in introspection. The university sees where all it has done good things, where work remains, how do we move forward, how do we support the community around the university, as well as the community within the university, to advance on the path of sustainable development. So it is an exercise in introspection, but at the same time, it is a model for others. It is the first time any university in Asia has done an exercise of this kind. And this is a model which can be replicated primarily by universities, and it is very important that universities do that because the best of intelligentsia are there in universities. Students who are full of who are not just young but are full of energy are there in universities. They can take the message of sustainable development forward. They need to be educated, they need to be mobilized, they need to be turned into advocates for sustainable development in the country at large. For that, it is very important to take this message to universities. So universities can look at this model and replicate it. Today, when the Vice Chancellor met the Governor, a copy of the report was handed over, and the Governor promised that it would be circulated to the Vice Chancellors of universities in Kerala. But going beyond that, we know it was mentioned in the welcome remarks or the opening remarks, and I'm sure Chief Secretary Dr. Joy will speak about it. The Kerala leads in Niti Ayog's ranking of states on sustainable development indices. If we look at the indices, we are doing extremely well. But at the same time, each and every one of us, and I include myself amongst you, who live in Kerala, know that we have a very fragile ecosystem, that our environment has to be protected and nurtured with all effort possible. There is climate change happening right now as we gather here. There's a heat wave in North India, and it's a trend of more and more heat waves. 2018, we had the biggest floods in 100 years. 2019, again, we had floods. We have had landslides. Earlier, cyclones used to happen more in Bay of Bengal. Now they are increasingly happening in the Arabian Sea as a result of climate change. So Kerala is highly vulnerable to climate change. And we are a fragile ecosystem. Our environment needs to be protected, yet we all need development. The path of progress cannot be stopped. We have to improve in every index of economic development, but we have to do it in a sustainable manner. So this report, this conclave, is important for Kerala because we live in an extremely sensitive area. And the people of Kerala have always seen themselves as pioneers. We have always been proud of the fact that what we do today, the rest of India does tomorrow. So we must lead the path in creating a people's movement for sustainable development. This should be taken up not only by universities of Kerala, but by all public institutions. Any institution where there is a large number of people who live together, who work together, who gather together, they can look at themselves, assess themselves against each of the sustainable development goals and determine how much they have gone forward and how much more remains to be done. And in this process, we would be creating a people's movement for sustainable development. Kerala is known for having achieved 100% literacy through a people's movement. The Shastra Sahitya Parishad and the large number of environmental activists here have led many campaigns for the environment. Similarly, the time has come for a larger campaign for sustainable development, and this report, which is being submitted to the people of Kerala today, is an attempt in this direction. Thank you very much.